Okay, so like imagine this, right? You wake up one morning, you check your crypto portfolio, and bam, your Bitcoin investment is like doubled overnight.
Crazy, right?
That's exactly the kind of wild ride some people experienced after the U.S. election.
It's pretty wild.
It is. And we're going to do a deep dive today into this crazy connection between the U.S. elections and Bitcoin's insane price surge.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, we've got a really fascinating article from trcrypto.news.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Bitcoin at 77K earned 48 hours after U.S. elections.
Hot off the press, November 8th, 2024.
So is this just a coincidence, or is something much bigger going on?
Let's find out.
Let's do it.
One of the most interesting things is that right after Donald Trump won his second non-consecutive term,
Wow.
Bitcoin shot up to a record-breaking $77,020.
That's like a 118% increase since the beginning of the year.
It is.
It's crazy to think that Bitcoin is now worth more than like huge companies like Meta.
Yeah, it's the 9th most valuable asset in the world.
That's wild.
Yeah, it shows that crypto is no longer this fringe thing. It's like really becoming mainstream finance now.
So this isn't an isolated incident, right?
No, not at all.
We saw these Bitcoin price surges during like the last 2 election cycles as well.
And each time the price stayed pretty high even after all the initial excitement died down.
So there's definitely a pattern emerging.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if the outcome of U.S. elections is actually influencing the price of Bitcoin.
I mean, that's the question, isn't it?
It is.
Let's look at some of the factors that might be involved here.
Okay.
One thing is the growing role of crypto in political campaigns.
Okay.
So this election saw tons of funding from pro-crypto PACs, political action committees,
Okay.
which are basically groups that pool money to support candidates who align with their views.
So are we seeing a push for policies that are friendly to crypto?
It seems that way.
Okay.
It seems like things are shifting toward a more crypto-friendly environment.
Okay.
To understand what kind of impact this might have, we should look at Senator Cynthia Lummis.
Oh, yeah, I've heard her.
Huge Bitcoin advocate, right?
Yeah.
She's been pushing for the U.S. to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Hold on, a Bitcoin reserve.
Yeah.
Like a national stockpile of Bitcoin.
You got it. Like countries hold reserves of gold or oil.
Right.
Senator Lummis's proposal is to buy 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years.
That's a lot of Bitcoin.
It's about $77 billion at current prices.
Wow, that would be a huge statement of confidence in Bitcoin from the government.
Absolutely. And the shift goes beyond just the government.
Okay.
We're seeing mainstream investors getting into Bitcoin too.
Right.
The article says $72 billion has already been invested in Bitcoin ETFs.
ETFs?
Exchange-traded funds.
Okay.
Basically, you can buy and sell them on the stock market, and instead of buying Bitcoin directly, you can buy an ETF that tracks its price.
So does this mean that big investors are becoming more comfortable with Bitcoin?
Yeah, for a long time, Bitcoin was seen as super risky and volatile, but now billions are flowing into Bitcoin ETFs.
Wow.
It shows that institutions are starting to see it as a legitimate investment.
It's not just Wall Street either.
Nope.
The article mentioned that Detroit and Wyoming are exploring using Bitcoin too.
Yeah, it's like this ripple effect.
Interest?
Starting with people, then spreading to institutions, and now it's hitting different levels of government.
Okay, so we've got increased political support,
Yeah.
institutional investment,
Uh-huh.
and governments getting involved.
That's right.
That's a lot to take in.
It is.
What does all this mean for someone like me who isn't a big Bitcoin investor?
I think that's why this deep dive is so important.
Okay.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just learning about crypto, this Bitcoin surge shows how powerful it's becoming.
It's going mainstream.
Yeah, it's not a fringe asset anymore, and it could have a huge impact on the global economy.
So it's not just about the price of Bitcoin.
No, it's about the bigger changes that are happening.
Like what?
It's about the potential for decentralized, transparent systems to change how we think about money.
Interesting.
It's about the changing nature of money itself.
So we've got this mix of political influence,
Right.
mainstream adoption,
Yes.
and a potential shift in how we think about money.
That's right.
Are there any other things driving this Bitcoin boom?
There are a few more things.
Okay.
To explore those, we need to dive deeper into the article.
You ready to keep going?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Okay, so we're back,
Ready for round 2.
ready to dive even deeper into this Bitcoin frenzy.
Yeah.
It seems like the more we dig into this trcrypto.news article, the more interesting it gets.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot to unpack here.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
I like that analogy.
Every layer reveals something new and intriguing.
It really shows how this isn't just about numbers. It's a fundamental shift in how we see and use money.
Okay, so let's start with what the experts are saying.
Yeah.
The article mentioned some big Bitcoin supporters.
Oh, yeah, like Michael Saylor.
Yeah, that guy.
They're forecasting even higher prices.
Oh, he's a huge Bitcoin bull.
Yeah, always talking about how Bitcoin will hit crazy prices.
Yeah.
And his predictions are pretty bold.
How bold are we talking?
He says Bitcoin will reach $100,000 by the end of the year.
Oh.
And $200,000 by 2025.
That's a lot of zeros.
It is, but obviously predicting the future of any asset is tricky.
Especially Bitcoin.
It's so volatile.
Definitely.
But it's clear that investors are very optimistic about its future.
Remember those Bitcoin ETFs we talked about?
Yeah.
They've already attracted $72 billion.
And that's just the beginning.
It's crazy to think that Wall Street used to dismiss crypto,
Right.
but now they're pouring billions into it.
What changed their minds?
Yeah.
Well, for one, Bitcoin has proven itself time and time again.
How so?
It's survived market crashes and come out stronger every time.
Interesting.
Plus, its limited supply makes it a hedge against inflation.
Right, which is a big concern right now.
Exactly. And as more people use Bitcoin, its legitimacy grows, and that makes it more appealing to investors.
Okay, so it's like a snowball effect.
Pretty much.
And it's not just Wall Street?
No.
You mentioned Detroit and Wyoming. They're getting involved too.
It's spreading beyond the usual financial centers.
How so?
Cities and states are figuring out how to use Bitcoin.
Like what kinds of things?
Managing public funds,
Oh, what?
accepting it for taxes and services.
Wow. Wow, so you could pay your parking ticket with Bitcoin.
Maybe one day.
Wild.
It's not as crazy as it sounds.
True.
We're already seeing some pilot programs.
Like what?
Miami is trying out Miami Coin,
Miami Coin.
a citywide cryptocurrency.
Wow.
And Wyoming passed laws recognizing DAOs as legal entities. A decentralized autonomous organization.
Okay, this is feeling very sci-fi.
I know, right?
But it's all happening right now.
It is. It's exciting to see.
It is. But how are campaigns actually using all that crypto money they're raising?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The article mentions Fairshake.
Fairshake.
It's a super PAC focused on crypto advocacy.
They're the ones who raised $78 million for the midterms.
Yep, for 2026.
That's serious money.
They're using it to support pro-crypto candidates, lobby for crypto-friendly laws, and educate the public about blockchain and crypto.
So it's not just sitting in their bank account.
No, they're putting it to work.
Interesting. It seems like crypto is moving from anti-establishment to becoming a force within the system itself.
It's a bit of a paradox.
It is, but it shows how technology can change the world in unexpected ways.
I think that's one of the most interesting things about all this.
Yeah.
Speaking of things changing the world, let's talk about that Bitcoin reserve idea.
Oh, yeah. Senator Loomis's proposal.
Yep. We touched on it before, but let's really dig into it.
I'm ready for the nitty-gritty details.
Okay, so the proposal is for the U.S. to buy 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years.
So not all at once.
No, it would be gradual.
So they're not going to cause a massive price spike.
Hopefully not. It's supposed to be carefully done.
Like how central banks manage gold.
Exactly. But even with a slow approach, the impact would be huge.
Besides the price going up.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah.
What else?
Think about it. The U.S.
The biggest economy in the world.
saying Bitcoin is a valuable asset. Okay.
And holding a ton of it.
What would that do?
It could trigger a global race to get Bitcoin.
Like a Bitcoin arms race?
Yeah. Countries competing to hoard Bitcoin.
That's intense.
And the implications are massive.
How so?
Countries with big Bitcoin reserves could have more power over the global economy.
This is starting to feel like we're on the edge of a new world order.
Maybe we are.
One where Bitcoin is at the center.
It's a possibility that's both exciting and scary.
Definitely a lot at stake.
The next few years will be crucial.
Okay, let's come back down to earth for a second.
All right.
What are some of the risks with this Bitcoin boom?
It's important to remember that there are risks.
What kinds of risks?
The article talks about social engineering scams.
Scams?
Yeah, targeting crypto users.
Oh, no.
As Bitcoin gets more popular, scammers are getting more clever.
So it's like the Wild West out there.
It can feel that way.
Everyone trying to strike it rich.
And some people trying to take advantage of others.
Right. Because crypto is still largely unregulated. Exactly. Which makes it easy for scammers.
And transactions are irreversible.
Yep. So once your Bitcoin is gone, it's gone.
What are some common scams to watch out for?
Well, there are phishing attempts,
Okay.
fake exchanges,
Okay.
and Ponzi schemes disguised as crypto investments.
Phishing, I get.
They try to trick you into giving away your info.
Like logins and stuff.
Exactly. They might send you an email that looks real.
It's fake.
Right.
It's fake.
Right. Designed to steal your info.
So always double check everything.
Always be careful with links and emails.
What about fake exchanges?
Those are websites that look like real crypto exchanges.
But they're not.
Nope. They take your money and vanish.
Yikes.
Always do your research and use reputable exchanges.
What about Ponzi schemes?
They promise ridiculously high returns.
Right, the too good to be true kind of thing.
Exactly. They pay old investors with money from new investors.
A classic pyramid scheme,
That always collapses eventually,
leaving everyone broke.
except the stammers at the top.
So be wary of anything promising guaranteed returns. Okay, so scams are a big concern.
Yeah.
What else could impact Bitcoin's future?
Well, regulatory uncertainty is a big one.
We talked about that a bit before.
Governments are still figuring out what to do with crypto.
Some are embracing it.
Some are cautious or even hostile.
So Bitcoin's future depends on how governments regulate it.
Absolutely. Too much regulation could stifle things.
But too little could lead to problems.
Exactly. It's a balancing act.
Wow, so we've got scams, regulatory uncertainty, and who knows what else.
Investing in Bitcoin is not for the faint of heart.
Definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme.
But for those who do their research and are in it for the long haul, Bitcoin offers a chance to be part of a financial revolution.
All right, so we've covered a lot.
We have.
Political influence, mainstream adoption, potential risks.
Yep.
But the big question remains, what's next for Bitcoin?
Is it going to be huge or is it all hype?
No one has a crystal ball.
But we can look at some potential scenarios.
Okay, let's play what if.
I like it.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our Bitcoin deep dive.
The grand finale.
We've talked about the connection to the election and the potential risks.
Right, all the big stuff.
But the big question is still out there. What does the future hold for Bitcoin?
That's the question everyone wants answered.
Predicting the future is always tough.
Especially with something like Bitcoin.
So volatile.
But we can at least explore some of the possibilities.
Okay, so let's play what if.
All right, I'm game.
What are some possible futures for Bitcoin?
Well, one scenario is that it keeps growing.
Okay.
Becoming more mainstream, integrated into our financial systems.
And maybe even challenging traditional currencies.
It's possible.
Like imagine using Bitcoin for everything.
Yeah, buying coffee booking flights.
That sounds pretty futuristic.
It does. But technology changes so fast.
Look at smartphones.
They completely change how we communicate.
Maybe Bitcoin could do the same for money.
It's definitely a possibility.
And as more people use it,
businesses, governments,
its value could keep going up.
Early adopters would be pretty happy.
That's the dream, right?
To get in early on the next big thing.
But let's talk about the other side.
Okay. The potential roadblocks.
What could slow Bitcoin down?
Well, as we said before, there's regulatory uncertainty.
Governments are still figuring things out.
And their decisions will have a huge impact.
Too much regulation could stifle innovation.
But too little could cause chaos.
It's a tough balance to find.
It is, and policymakers are struggling with it.
Where else?
Scalability is another issue.
As more people use Bitcoin,
the network gets congested,
leading to slower transactions and higher fees.
Right. If Bitcoin is going to be used for everyday purchases,
it has to be fast and cheap.
Exactly.
Are there solutions for this?
Developers are working on it.
Like what?
The Lightning Network, for example.
What's that?
It's a second layer that allows for faster and cheaper transactions.
Like adding more lanes to a highway?
Exactly, to handle more traffic.
Okay, so regulation scalability.
Those are two big ones.
Any other potential problems?
Well, there's always the risk of something unexpected.
Like what?
A major security breach,
Oh, yeah.
or a global economic crisis.
That could definitely shake confidence in Bitcoin.
And lead to a price crash.
So no investment is completely risk-free.
Even the most promising technologies can face challenges.
That's a good point. It's important to be cautious
and have a long-term view.
Don't get caught up in the hype.
Do your research, understand the risks, and only invest what you can afford to lose.
That's really good advice.
And I said,
It brings us back to education.
right.
If people want to be a part of this,
They need to understand how it all works.
and the risks involved,
Absolutely. The more informed people are,
the better decisions they'll make.
there are tons of resources available.
Like what?
Educational websites, online communities.
Places to learn about Bitcoin and connect with others.
It's all out there.
So it sounds like Bitcoin's future is still uncertain.
It is. There are a lot of factors at play.
But that's what makes it so exciting.
It's a dynamic space with so much potential.
Whether Bitcoin becomes the world's currency,
Or just a niche thing for techies.
it's a fascinating story that's still unfolding.
And we're watching it happen in real time.
That's why this deep dive's been so interesting.
It's more than just numbers and tech.
It's about the potential for change,
The power of innovation.
the people shaping the future of finance.
It's a story that involves all of us.
Well, that brings us to the end of our Bitcoin election boom deep dive.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We've explored the connections, the possibilities, the risks.
It's been quite a journey.
But this isn't the end of the conversation.
It's just the beginning.
So stay curious, stay informed.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
The world of crypto is full of surprises.
And the more you learn,
The more you'll discover. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
it's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring
Keep learning.
and keep your eyes on the horizon.
The future is waiting.
See you next time.